Very good evening from vk3sl. Welcome to the test missions on 1868 kHz in narrowband FM mode. Yes, another Friday night. They cycle on, don't they? Friday nights, they roll on, and we're back into the same cycle we were in before. But we have another horizon here. We have a world of music which we explore here, and we use it for test purposes, of course. And that's the zone. And of course, we like to do things serendipitously here. We don't do much planning, so whatever's come about is sort of materialised in the last 5 minutes, really. So we'll see where that leads us. I did listen to the callback as well on the EKH. So hi to Clint, and exceptionally good signals on 80 metres. Especially stations out and about, really clear. Excellent. So there we go. 80 is working very nicely tonight. Let's hope that 160 is working just as well. And of course we are also casting on 2 metres. So you can listen to us on 147.475 megahertz. It's just it's on the amateur bands as well. So there are our go-to places on the air, and there are streaming services which I need to bring to your attention. One is the YouTube streaming service, which is under my call sign, and that is an easier find now. It's getting easier by the day, I think, as slowly there's a momentum, and it finds its triage on the grand YouTube scale. But that's another go-to place. There's also a secondary streaming service as well, which is the one I traditionally used. I still keep that going, and some people listen on that. And the best place to find that is via my Blogspot page. Again, my call sign, vk3sl.blogspot.com. And we also have an email address. This is in lieu of a text line, so I have it on my phone right in front of me. So if people want to drop me a line, say hi, or have you got a particular comment you make, maybe you're incensed by all this bilge, well, you can get in touch with me. And that can... I don't know if I'll necessarily listen to you, but you can certainly get in touch with me. And that, again, is my call sign, all lowercase, vk3sl@hotmail.com. So there we go. That's where it all happens. Different platforms for different purposes. And I'll bring to your attention the fact that we have Frank coming and joining us. Frank 3JR will be hopefully on board at 12:30ish. I'll give it an hour to sort of get into a bit of a rhythm with the program, and also make sure that everything's working. We've had quite a few technical problems emerge over the last week, so we're sort of looking at those in earnest. But hopefully it'll all be sort of humming along, not literally, but hopefully, things will be okay by 12:30, and at which time I'll invite Frank in, and we'll have a bit of a natter, and we've got a few selections. Frank's sent me a couple of great sounding pieces, which we'll explore as well. So, a few things, bit of OTR. I've got a couple of OTR records out. So, that's the way it works. All right, we'll kick off today with something that's an artist who was completely unknown to me until about 10 minutes ago. That's Veleda. Can I get this right? I need to look. I was rehearsing this. Veleda Snow. She is the Little Louie. She was a trumpet player, a jazz artist, and an entertainer, and she did some great things. And here's a record that's been put up by Mr. Dello up on YT, and I reckon it's a good one to kick off today. It's called You Bring Out the Savage in Me. Say no more. VK3SL testing.
My blood boils with the tropic heat, and the rhythm of my heart is tom-tom beat. You bring out the savage in me. Primitive love cries reach my ears with the passion of 100 million years. You bring out the savage in me. Oh, call it madness or sin. How was I to know what was sleeping within me? Just like Tarzan, you'll be my ape man. I'm getting so ferocious and you can't escape, man. You'll find out how wild I can be, for you bring the savage in me. My blood boils with the tropic heat, and the rhythm of my heart is a tom-tom beat. You bring out the savage in me. Primitive love cries reach my ears with the passion of 100 million years. You bring out the savage in me. Oh, call it madness or sin. What was I to know what was sleeping within me? Just like Tarzan, you'll be my ape man, getting so ferocious and you can't escape, man. You'll find out how wild I can be. You bring out the savage in me.
What great lyrics! Valeda Snow, and she was playing trumpet on that record, and she's pretty good. I need to explore more of her recordings. I need to find out more about Valeda. She's got personality. She's got spunk. What an interesting character. So there we go. We discover things all the time here. Well, one thing we do on these missions is play original recordings. I like to actually play 78s and transcription records and tapes to air if I can. It's something sort of magical about working with the original source material. And it's a nice bit of theatre. It's a theatre that I enjoy. It makes me feel like I'm doing something more important than what I am. It's a grand illusion, but I go with it. And what we do have on the table tonight with the mag pickup is a recording of Jack Hilton and his band from about 1929. And we'll see how we go here. I'm going to cue it up. This is the new cueing arrangement. And we have On the Sunny Side of the Street with Jack Hilton, about 1929, vk3sl.
Get your hat, leave your worry on the doorstep. Just direct your feet to the sunny side of the street. Can't you hear a pitter-pat? And that happy tune is your step. Life can be so sweet on the sunny side of the street. I used to walk in the shade with those blues on parade, but I'm not afraid. This rover crossed over. If I never have a cent, I'll be rich as Rockefeller. Gold dust at my feet on the sunny side of the street.
right, that's a timeless song, isn't it? Sunny Side of the Street. It's been, I think just about every artist has made or from that era at least, had a go at covering that song. Timeless melody. That was an original recording, an early recording of the work, and yeah, good to hear. All right, we're going to swing over to the buyer. And on the buy, I have one of Mr. J's transcriptiones. This is a associated recording program service transcription record. We play these a lot on the afternoon missions. And I'm going to sidle over to the table so I can have a look at the label, because it's not easy to read. It's got a big stamp on it, this one. Someone stamped it with something that looks very official. It says, "Transcription is licensed only for broadcasting over wires to furnish music by Muzak," it says. But underneath, if you look closely, if you hold it up to the light, and you can actually see through these records, they're transparent, we can see, it says Clyde McCoy and his orchestra. Well, I have no idea who Clyde McCoy is. I'd say it's almost certainly a pseudonym, and we can research that and find out. But it's nice not to know sometimes. In fact, I quite enjoy not knowing too much. In fact, I don't think I'll even tell you what's on this. Doesn't really matter, does it? We'll put the record on, and we'll just have a listen to the music. All I can tell you is it's from the probably early to mid-1930s, and these records are early examples of high fidelity. If you're uninitiated, we talk about this a lot, so you probably all know. But Hill and Dale records, so they're quite a different format, and requires a pickup to be wired so that they're vertically compliant. But they use the best Western Electric equipment at the time, and these transcription records have extraordinary fidelity. So they make great missions fodder. So what we're hearing is recordings from about 90 years ago in exceptional quals. So I'm just going to drop the stylus in, and I have to do a little bit of meandering here. It's not quite as straightforward using the Biomatic. And we'll turn off that one, and we'll advance the fader, and let's hope we're on board. Okay, there's another track on this disc, so we'll keep going, I think. Let's listen for track 2. This is vk3sl testing on 160 and 2 meters and streaming.
To win the heart of my co-ed with melody, I'm gonna play
is vk3sl test missions on 160 and 2 metres. We're listening to a transcription record from the early 1930s, and we really don't know who it is. It says Clyde McCoy on the label, but that's a pseudonym. And these records made for the Associated Recording Program Service featured artists who were working outside their usual, working outside their usual contractual obligations. So it's interesting. It's all recorded, it's in the public domain, the information, but sometimes it's good not to know and just let music be what it is. Too much information. We live in a sea of definitions and justifications and labels and little boxes, big boxes. It's terrible. We don't have to identify everything. Okay, well, speaking of such, I was going through a shelf and I found a transcription, or I found an acetate. An acetate says 3AW Broadcasting Company. I have to put my glasses on. But it goes way back. It goes back to 1939. And it says Federal Agent, Episode 12, Opening, Introduction and Theme Music. Now, I remember using this as on my answering service a long time ago, back in the 80s. So I've had this record a while, but I haven't seen it for a while. It just sort of suddenly emerged. It sort of happens. They sit in the shelves, and then suddenly I think they move at night. I think they sort of shuffle themselves around and then make themselves known, and then you don't see the record for 10 years and it turns up again. I think this is very much in that category. But having given all that preamble, I'm not sure if I can play it. We'll try. And what are we doing here? It's a 33, I think. Now, I'm just wondering, because I suddenly remembered that we have a noise problem. Oh, okay, it might work. It might work. Now I have to shift over to the other microphonics first. There's a bit of juggling here. I've set the room up for teaching because I have to teach. I have to do synchronous teaching from the space, and it involves using the other desk, which is behind me. That's the old back one. I use that desk so I can face it and I can put my music up. And there's a microphone connected to that desk. It's an Audio Technica, I think, and it's a condenser mic, so you'll probably hear more of the fans in the room. And we'll try that out, but I have to put it through the RME desk. This is all very technical, but we have to give people the right information here, and these are technical missions after all. So we'll turn off this mic and I'll quickly turn on the other one, so there'll be some dead air, no complaints, and here we go. Hello, 1 2 1 2 3 4. Is that working? Okay, can I be heard? I hope. We might get a little bit more level on that. There we go. That's the secondary system here. Now, I'm going to have to just try and, knocking the microphone. I'm going to have to try and play this record in without cueing it. So a bit of stylus dropping, and I think it's got 2 speeds on it too. So what we'll do, bring that forward. We'll just give it a try and see what happens. Oh, here we go. I think I need some more level. Let's see if this works now. vk3sl.
Federal Agent. Federal Agent, backbone of today's crusade against crime. Scotland Yard, French Sûreté, American Bureau of Investigation, Royal Canadian Mounted Police. These men are joined in a modern crusade against crime.
There we go. Oh, it sort of worked. I'm afraid there is a noise problem there. We haven't quite resolved that yet. Never the mind. But yes, you got some gist of what it was. And yes, that's from a long lost serial going back to 1939. And there's got some snippets of an ABC variety program with Ward Leopold as well on that record. And I can try and play it a bit. We'll just turn the speed up and we'll have a listen. See if we can it's an inside start, so we'll see what happens.
Hallelujah! All the way to Jordan, brother, shout and sing. There's a new well where the seeker, what a melon for the picker, golden platter for your sandal, when you camping in the new world.
You have been listening to Show Business, an ABC variety program. Musical direction was by Jim Gussie and production by Ward Leopold. Next week's Show Business will again be at its usual time, so make an early listening date of it and make sure that you get your full 45 minutes of comedy, drama, music, and novelty in the most fascinating business of all, Show Business.
Get the right mic on. There's another little excerpt as well on this.
Singers, late Vaughan Williams celebrated his 76th birthday, and this evening the Melbourne Singers, directed by Frederick Earle, will present 5 English folk songs by this grand old man of English music. They are The Dark-Eyed Sailor, The Springtime of the Year, Just as the Tide was Flowing, The Lover's Ghost, and Wassail Song.
And that's about it, I'm afraid. That's all we have. There's just a few little snippets on that disc, and recorded at different speeds. And on the other side, there's someone's party, but it's not very well recorded, and it's quite funny actually. But it's not really suitable for airplay because it's muffle missions, even more so than what we've just heard. But it's just one out of the bag. It happened to be on the shelf with a few OTR, rarities or something. Yeah, all right. What else? We move over back to the C table with the mag pickup, the one I've just installed. It's the one that requires a manual start. Everything in this room now is failing and there's some adjustments. The desk, I've got to use a hammer to start the desk up now, and even the MP3 player, which I use to log these missions, I've got to give that a bang to get it going. The transmitter needs about 3 starts to start up. The exciter it needs to start about 3 times before it sort of settles down. Everything is slowly just falling apart. So, yes, it's a bit crazy, isn't it? But this turntable's no exception. Yeah, I've got to give this a manual start because it's hard to explain. But inside the motor, there's 2 windings. One is the winding which is out of phase, which gives it the kick, and the other one's the winding which makes the turntable, which makes the motor spin. Well, one of the windings is dead in this, and it's a really good table, except I've got to pull the platter off and start it manually, and I just keep it going all evening. So that's the way I cope with this. But never mind, once it's going, and it sort of works really well with the mag pickup because it's got heaps of torque. So we'll have a listen to a recording I just pulled off the shelf. It's Tommy Dorsey and the orchestra, but interestingly, it features a very young Frank Sinatra. So this is one that's worth having a listen to. vk3sl test missions, and I think we're right. I think? No, maybe not. I know why. I've got the wrong fader. Yes, I've got the AR8 switched in. Let's do that again. Let's do a double take on this. Back in the groove. This is vk3sl testing.
when you away. The day takes a bow at your door. When you away, the sun shines like never before. Clouds soaked with rain find it hard to explain to the earth below. They can't let it rain, for then it would stain a heavenly show. You make it so when you away. You open the eyes of my heart. When you away, my day really gets its great start. All the winds and the birds join the simple refrain of a rippling stream. My world becomes a midsummer night's dream. When you away.
A very young Frank Sinatra before he developed the grain in his voice. So he had very different quality, tonal quality when he was young, and I actually prefer it. I think Sinatra sounded much better, but he sort of strained his voice really in his later years, in my opinion. But it's an interesting one because it's early Mr. S. All right, we will continue, and I might have to change gear at this point because we need to keep things flowing. And what have I done? I've pushed something, I've done something which I didn't mean to do on the screen. We'll just have to get that up. Yeah, there we go. Now, what have we got? Yes. Now, I had a lovely email this during the week responding to the week missions from Mr. HN, Mr. Paul, so I hope he's listening. And he mentioned that he really likes Callan, and I remember the show, Callan, with Edward Woodward. And we might have a listen to the theme song from Callan, and then we might hear a song from Edward Woodward himself. So yeah, let's have a listen. The Callan theme. This is vk3sl testing. So the theme from Callan. And who wrote it? Who wrote the theme from Callan? Doesn't say. But yeah, that's it's great. It's got such a sardonic, lowbrow edge. I like it. Yeah, that series was wonderful. Now let's have a look. Here we go. Edward Woodward and the Windmills of Your Mind. This is a song that I like, and this is sung by Callum himself, Mr. Woodward. And I quite like the words of this song. Now, I remember Kate used to sing this in a restaurant many decades ago, and I used to sit there and ponder the lyrics. So let's have a listen. The Windmills of Your Mind with Edward Woodward. I'm vk3sl testing.
Like a circle in a spiral, like a wheel within a wheel, never ending or beginning on an ever-spinning reel, like a snowball down a mountain or a carnival balloon, like a carousel that's turning, running rings around the moon, like a clock whose hands are sweeping past the minutes of its face. And the world is like an apple whirling silently in space, like the circle that you find in the windmills of your mind. Like a tunnel that you follow to a tunnel of its own, down a hollow to a cavern where the sun has never shone, like a door that keeps revolving in a half-forgotten dream, or the ripples from a pebble someone tosses in a stream, like a clock whose hands are sweeping past the minutes of its face, and the world is like an apple whirling silently in space, like a circle that you find in the windmills of your mind. Keys that jingle in your pocket, words that jangle in your head. Why did summer go so quickly? Was it something that you said? Lovers walk along the shore and leave their footprints in the sand. Is the sound of distant drumming just the fingers of your hand? Pictures hanging in a hallway and fragment of a song, half-remembered names and faces, but to whom do they belong? When you knew that it was over, you were suddenly aware that the autumn leaves were turning to the color of her hair. Like a circle in a spiral, like a wheel within a wheel, never ending or beginning on an ever-spinning reel, as the images unwind, like the circles that you find in the windmills of your mind.
Edward Woodward and the Windmills of Your Mind. That was especially for Mr. HN and Mr. Paul, who mentioned that during the week. So we had a couple of big pop sessions during the week. We had Tubular Bells on one night, and we had the Lloyd Webber Variations on another, and what else? Oh, we had the big 60s playlist. Yeah, the car list. That was we've had that a couple of times. So yeah, we try and have some variety in the afternoon sessions. It's not all classical, but on the whole, I look for music to wind down to. But it has been good, I have to say. That's been one little universe to retreat to. Since we can't go out and we can't do other things, we look inwardly, and there is great music out there which offers something. Anyhow, there we go, Mr. Woodward. Now, what else? We've got here we go. This is this is what we're listening to around the fire earlier on. Mr. H from this household showed me a meme that's got 14 million views, and it's called the Wide Putin meme. Someone has made a film of Mr. P, Mr. Russian P, and widen the picture, and it gets wider and wider and wider until he looks really wide. In fact, he looks wider than he is tall. It's all distorted. And he's walking down a corridor, and he's just got that alpha male gait, the way he's walking. And it's just, I don't know, it seems to have just gone totally and utterly viral. And you just see Mr. P walking down the corridor and at the Kremlin or somewhere very official, and he just gets squatter and squatter and wider, and he looks more and more like some crazy species. So that's the Wide Putin meme. Look it up. Anyhow, it is accompanied by this vk3sl. There we go. The Song for Denise is the name of that. That's the maxi version, and that's from the infamous Wide Putin meme. Look it up. You'll see Mr. P getting fatter and fatter and walking down the corridors of the Kremlin to that song. And it's only got 14 million listeners in the last little while. So there we go. That's the vagaries of YouTube. You just have to think up a crazy meme. We should think up some missions memes. Yeah, well, I'll have to ask Frank about that. Well, I think it might be time to usher Frank in a minute. I think we're getting to that point. Things seem to be more or less stabilised. I'm just going to see, do we have any... It looks like I've got a bit of noise on the band actually tonight. Oh, I'm going to just drop off for a second, see what the signal looks like. I have a feeling we got some buzz. Maybe we do. Just standing on by. Right, it looks okay. I was just looking on the SDR, and it looked like there was some buzz. I was listening off air before, and it sounded all right. And I went inside and had listened to Mr. Putin inside for a bit, and it sounded okay there. I think we're all right. Now, just a quick reminder before we get Zoom started, just a reminder that we are streaming online tonight. You can find us on vk3sl as a YouTube channel, and I think there's a chat associated with this, but I haven't quite worked out how to use it. The problem is the screen's behind me, and I don't actually stream video of the session. I just have a blank picture of the desk. People don't want to be looking at me, and there is provision for a chat there as well, but I haven't really utilised that function yet. But what I do have is my phone and an email email for the station, which is vk3sl@hotmail.com. So if you really like to make contact, that's where you need to go. All right, having established all of that, I reckon we can try and check in with Zoom. Now, I'm going to push channel 1 there. Hello. I might get the hammer out. Knock the desk. Hello. Yes, it's woken up the line amp, which has got a cold solder joint and needs the hammer. There we go. That's looking like it's working. And what do? We push start. Hopefully, it'll default to the right audio settings. Join with computer audio, it says here. I'm doing that. And I'm talking, but is Frank there yet? I don't know. Possibly not. I think I'll see Frank when he comes up. So I think that's what happens. I hope. It worked really well last week, and I should say another thanks to Jamie, who's listening tonight. It was wonderful to have Jamie last week. It was a real treat, and we'll definitely do that again. Here we go. Admit. I've admitted you, Frank. Can you hear me? I wonder.
Hello.
Hello there. Can you hear me?
Yes. Can
Okay.
you hear me?
Yes, I can. Now, I've got the hammer here. Can you just talk, and I've got to hit the right spot, which is a cold solder joint.
Yes. 1, 2, 3. Testing on these airs.
Yeah, nearly there.
Testing.
It's not quite.
Keep hammering.
Yeah, I have to.
Yes. Hello.
Oh, there we go. That's it. It's solid now. Otherwise, I only hear you in one ear, and it's frustrating. I'll take the line out.
I think your hammer is more important than your soldering iron and your
Yes, I think so. It probably is. I'm always having to hammer things. I think that's the preferred way of resolving problems. And if I get
definitely.
Yes, I think give it the tap. I got the AR-88 working with a hammer. Because I got one, it didn't work, and the fellow he had it working, and he was very happy with it, and suddenly it failed on him, and he couldn't find the problem. And
that's embarrassing, isn't it?
Yeah, it just wouldn't work.
For him, I mean.
Yeah, well, and I ended up getting it from him as a non-working unit, and all I did is got the hammer out and just gave it a belt, and it came alive, and it's been working ever since. So that's the story of the AR-88. Yeah.
Amazing.
So there we go. So
yes, well.
How are you keeping?
Very well, thank you. Surprisingly well.
Excellent.
Surprisingly well.
And I hear that your studio is up and running?
it's not up and running.
Well,
no, it's a long way from that. But I'm still acquiring the equipment.
Yes.
Which is more of a problem than I'd thought because
I meant metaphorically.
Sorry, the plans are up and running
Yes,
in
yes.
motion.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I'm too much of a literalist. My wife is always telling me that. I have had trouble actually sourcing some of the stuff because everyone's out of stock of things that I want.
Sure.
And in particular, I've linked in with a local establishment and a particular guy who's very helpful, and I'd love to buy everything from him, but he hasn't got it in stock, and I don't know. I can either wait for him and sort of maintain this strong linkage, which would be ultimately of great assistance to me because he would help me, or go for broke and get the stuff from others. I've sourced just about everything else now but not from him.
So is it software you're looking for? Or
No. It's hardware equipment. It's an audio interface, and it's monitor speakers, and it's it's headphones. You actually need two types. I won't take long about this.
No, this is
you
interesting.
need two types of headphones. You need the open back and the closed back.
Yep.
Why? I hear you ask.
Yes, I do.
But you need the closed back for when you're actually recording.
Yeah.
If you're recording anything that has the potential to leak into the room,
sure.
Open backs are obviously no good.
Yes, you can get feedies back and noise.
Or feedies is very much back, so you need closed backs for that. And although I'll be mainly recording my electronic stuff, I do hope to actually try and sing a little bit. I've got a thing called a voice processor, a vocal processor.
Wow.
Which is really incredibly wonderful. Jacob Collier uses them to incredible effect.
Okay. Is that what creates that sort of chorus effect when you're singing? Can you?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
That's exactly right.
Fantastic.
Incredible.
Oh, this sounds great.
I bought mine about 12 years ago and then sort of put it away and not forgot about it, but I sort of didn't get around to using it for various reasons. And now is the perfect time, and I've got it out.
Oh, good.
And
so you'll need a rack. You'll need a rack to mount them all in. An official rack and a patch bay.
That's
a rack room.
An engineer to operate it for me. That's
a switch room.
Yeah. Yes, you need this one. It's getting very official.
Yes, it certainly is. Oh, that's exciting. So a voice processor. Will you use a compressor as well? Or has that got that?
It's got a compressor built into it.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's got compressor and it's got EQ.
Yeah. Wow.
And it's a very advanced piece of kit, really.
Fantastic. So what sort of microphone are you going to use? You're going to use a condenser mic?
I have a very nice Sennheiser. It's an E945.
Okay.
It's a dynamic, a super cardioid.
Okay. Fantastic. Wow.
And they're worth a couple of $100, just the microphone.
Sure.
I bought this at the same time as I bought the harmonizer.
Okay.
So that's for that I need the closed back headphones, and I need you need the open back headphones for mixing because ultimately you get much truer sound from an open back because you're not getting the closed in boxy effect.
Yeah, that's right. There's a sort of a factor with sealed headphones. I always use open back headphones if I can.
They're much nicer, aren't they?
That's always my preference.
And you get a much more open sound stage.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, that
sort of extends beyond your ears, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It's interesting. Well, look, it sounds like you're really getting this together. This is an exciting project. So you decided to go out the back. You're going to do it out the back?
Yeah, I've had to go out the back because Kathy has had to move to sleep in what was to be my studio room because she's having some health issues which require her bed to be on a slope.
Ah, yes.
And I don't want to sleep on a slope.
No, fair enough.
I don't think I could. No. So the thing is, that's had to happen for her.
Yeah.
So I'm going outside at least temporarily.
Yeah, sure.
And we'll see how it has advantages of privacy and seclusion.
It does.
It has huge disadvantages too. But
look, you'll
there it
navigate
is.
that. I mean, look, I live with the booth out well outside the house, and I'm completely used to it. And having your own space independent from the house, I think is not a bad idea, as well.
It does work.
It does.
Well, the trouble is, it's sort of it's pretty full of radio gear, as you saw when you came.
Yes, it is. Yes, it's a very well appointed space. It's got the.
I'm having to make
it's got
some
the
room.
Vibe. Yeah.
So it's a question of getting things a bit more organised.
Yeah, sure.
But look, this is very boring to the listener. So
No, it's all good. It's a journey. I'm interested to hear how it all sort of pans out. So you're looking for monitor speakers and the
two sets of headphones and the audio interface.
And the audio interface. Okay.
4 things. Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Look,
I'll order them.
Go on.
I'll be ordering them tomorrow.
Okay. Right.
And I've already
So your main source, do they think that it might take some time, or have their sources dried up? Is it a difficult? Is it because I mean it sounds like that the person that you've been working through is quite reliable and potentially help you along the way.
I bought my Native Instruments keyboard from them.
Okay.
Totally reliable, and he is very interested in what I'm doing, and he's helpful, and I think he would help me above and beyond the normal sort of business hours type stuff.
That's a good situation. Yeah.
I don't want to lose him.
No.
But I think if I explain in explicit terms why it is that I don't want to wait. And one of the reasons I don't want to wait is I'm concerned about things closing down here in a lockdown sense to a greater degree.
Yeah, it's very possible. And access to things. Yeah, I understand.
So I'm keen to get things moving so that I've hopefully got the equipment once, if anything like that were to happen.
Yeah, look, I can understand that. No, it's important to keep things moving if you can, and I'm sure people understand. They have to. I mean,
he will. He'll understand. But I don't really know him all that well. I only met him, talked to him on the phone the other day, but I've explained in detail what I'm doing and why, and he seemed to take a very genuine. He's a synth nut himself. So
really? Okay. And
it was very good. On the website of this place, they have short profiles of their staff. Mm-hmm. So I knew who, and he was the keyboard expert. So I knew to ask for him. Right.
So you knew exactly who to go to. Yeah. Oh, that's good. Well, I'm sure it'll all come together. And very soon you've got your MacBook now, and you've got your keyboard.
Yeah, MacBook and the key, they're the two of the big things.
Yes.
And I need some time actually to learn the Mac, but fortunately, and look, I'll just finish on this because it's going on sort of long. The keyboard is designed such that the object, one of the objects of it is to avoid musos who are using it having to constantly go back to the computer.
Yeah.
So the design philosophy is that just about everything is controllable from the keyboard, whilst not exactly whilst you're playing, but without having to go back to the computer.
Yeah, that's a really good idea.
Which translates, in my case, to not having to know a great deal about working with the computer and controlling that, just enough to get it running, probably, and to get the keyboard up and running. Sure. And I can just about do everything else from the controls on the keyboard.
Yeah, I think it makes sense to be able to work from one platform and not have to sort of change your access and your philosophy. I think it's helpful to have everything contained. Yeah.
There's a very good screen on the keyboard for people to use, specifically put there so that they don't have to go back and look at the computer all the time.
Oh, that's excellent. Oh, it sounds really, really good. Well, it sounds like it's really well designed. And you're using Logic, and you're going to use Logic Pro?
Yes, I am, certainly. Now, the other thing before I finish my highlights of my week is that I'm absolutely besotted with Jacob Collier in terms of his master classes.
Oh, you've listened to some of them?
Yes, I have.
Fantastic. They're really
They are
educational. They're quite extraordinary.
Unbelievable. He's an amazing guy.
He is. He's a natural communicator, that's for sure. And
he's that, but he's a natural lots of things.
Yeah, he is. He is.
He's just unbelievable.
Yeah, extraordinary musician. Yeah.
He's unique, totally unique.
Yeah, he's one of a kind. There's no one like him in the world. And
I don't think so.
And the wonderful thing is he hasn't got an ounce of pretense. So he's one of these people.
He doesn't think he hasn't got a sense of himself being remarkable.
Yeah.
Well, he must have, he doesn't feel that he's a cut above everyone else.
You don't see any hubris or any of those sort of emotions with him. He's a very genuine, seemingly a very genuine person.
And he wants to share his knowledge. And
yeah, that's right, exactly. And I think that those projects, when he actually invited people to send in tracks and then he sort of interpreted them and worked with them, was a very honourable thing to do, and it's a wonderful way to connect with people. And that was just for people off the street. It was amazing.
I haven't really caught up with that properly yet.
Yeah,
they're
amazing. But look, we should find some Jacob Collier, shouldn't we? I'll see what I can find, because it would be nice, since we're talking about him, to play something from his program. But I've got your other things lined up here. So,
yes.
Wait a minute. We can. Since we're talking about him, we might as well see what we can do. I like trying to.
Just while you're finding him, the masterclass that really caught my attention was the one he did on harmony.
Yeah.
Or one of the ones he did on harmony, and his view of harmony and the way you know or have a feel for evolving big harmonies, and with the idea that every note has to resolve to another.
Yeah.
And that you should have a sense of a note, where it's going to go.
It's like a gravity.
Yeah.
He sees things in terms of the way that harmonies gravitate to each other, and I think that's a wonderful sort of analogy for harmony.
But was terrific, and it's very. I mean, it's one of these things. It's far easier said than done.
Yes, absolutely.
And in fact, to do it like he does it, you would have to have an incredible ear. And I certainly wouldn't aspire to even.
Oh, look,
but the basic.
Yeah, his ears.
The basic principles there, even no matter what you do.
That's right.
I mean, even if you reserve, even in a perfect cadence, the idea is the second last note resolves.
Yeah, it does. Absolutely, it does. Yeah. No, look, it's interesting to sort of acknowledge that. All right. Well, I've got something lined up. We've got his performance of All Night Long here, and this is one of his pastiches. It's one he made a little while ago.
Yep.
A couple of years ago. So let's kick off with some Jacob Collier. Great subject.
Great.
Thanks, Frank.
I've got a special extra request for this week.
I think it's good. Let's go with it.
Okay.
vk3sl and vk3jr.
The time has come to raise the roof and have some fun. Throw away the work to be done. Let the music play on. Everybody sing and everybody dance. Lose yourself in wild romance. We're going to party, caramba, fiesta, forever. Come on and sing along. Party, caramba, fiesta, forever. Come on, let's sing along. Yeah. All night long. All night. All night. All night. All night long. All night. All night. people dancing all in the street. You see the rhythm in their feet. Yes. Life is good, 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 wild and sweet. Let the music play on and on and on and on, and on. Feel it in your heart and feel it in your soul. Let the music take control. We're gonna do it. Party, piano, fiesta, forever. Come on, let's see it all, sing it all, all. Party, piano, fiesta, forever. Come on, let's start to sing along, sing along. All night long, all night, all night, all night, all night long, long, long. All night long, all night, all night, all night long, long, long. All night. Once you get started, you can sit down. Come join the fun, it's a merry-go-round. Everyone's dancing their troubles away. Come join the party, see how we Well, my friends, the time has come. All night long. We're gonna raise the roof and have some fun. All night long. Life is good, life is sweet, so come on now. Let the music go on and on and on and on and on. Feel it in your heart, feel it in your soul. Let the music take control. We're gonna party, go free your style now. Set to Moya. Hey, jumba jumba, wait the party, oh we're going. Oh, jumile, jambalino set to Moya. Oh, jumba jumba.
And we fade. Jacob Collier. And All Night Long. That's one from 2019. Do we still have you, Frank? Are you still
Yes.
there? Yay, good.
Yes.
Right.
Well, that's just breathtaking, isn't it?
It is. It's quite extraordinary. There's so much textual interest, and he's the grandmaster of fusion, isn't he?
Oh, he certainly is. Did that win a Grammy? Do you know? Was that one of his Grammy winners?
Several have, and I think this one may have. Yeah, he's in that league now. He's sort of winning Grammys and doing incredible things and getting tens of millions of hits and stuff. So
He is.
Yeah.
He was sort of, I don't think mentored, but he was certainly taken up by Quincy Jones.
Yeah. Yep.
Who has the most Grammys of anyone alive, I understand.
Okay, fantastic. That's wonderful. Wasn't it nice to know that there's that the older generation, there's a lot of cross-pollination.
Totally, and he's got a great jazz feel himself.
Oh, he does. I mean, that piano solo was really quite virtuosic.
It was.
And that was all Mr. Collier at the piano and the bass guitar.
Yeah, no help.
Yeah.
He has just a parting factoid on him. If we want to move on,
sure.
He happened to mention casually that his his working computer which would be a Mac, of course.
Yeah.
Running Logic has to be. It has 128 gig of RAM in it.
That's extraordinary, isn't it?
It's totally extraordinary.
I was watching one of the vids about, I think it was Moon River, the one we played a few weeks back.
Yes, that was superb.
And on the screen, he's got about 200 tracks. It's just this mass of dots and all of the linear, all the tracks just lined up. And I was thinking to myself, how much RAM would he have to do this?
I know. That's it. You see, you couldn't. I mean, you'd have to. To get it, you can get Macs like that, but they cost many thousands of dollars.
Yeah, sure.
$8,000 or $10,000.
Yes.
More.
Yeah,
and it's just so incredible. I heard him sort of bemoaning the fact this was a few years ago on a thing he'd done a few years ago, that he only had 256 tracks to play with in Logic.
And he would push it. He'd push anything to the limits. I mean, the sky's the limit.
Right.
So he would be keen to sort of understand, well, he'd be working with the edges of the technology, sort of using it to its full capacity all the
Absolutely.
time.
He said he's very pleased that his ideas, the things that he hears in his head and thinks of in his head, are still ahead of the technology that can do them.
Yeah, interesting. That's really that's important, I think. So he's not not enslaved by it. He's liberated.
No. But it gives him the feeling that the thing can just keep going on and on.
Yeah, for sure. No, look, that's fantastic. Well, it's a case of watch this space, because there's new wonderful creative endeavours every couple of weeks. He's got something new up. So, and he's been doing quite a bit during the recent times, the Corona times. So he did one of.
I must.
Yeah, there's a recent one recorded in his bathroom.
Right. Interesting acoustic.
Yeah, and he got a number of great artists to. He must have provided a click track or a bass, and then got them to sort of interpolate and add to it, and then he sort of mixed it all up, and it's sort of a whole stack of bathroom performances. It's pretty astonishing.
I must find it.
If I can find, I'll give you a taste of it. It's
thank you.
It's one of his things, but one of his recent ones. Let's have a look. Videos, Jacob Collier. And where is it? Oh gosh. Okay, I might have to save it, because I don't know how to find it, to be honest.
I think we might be boring the listener a little bit.
Yes, we're getting on a bit of a one track. So maybe we will change gear. We'll move into a different gear.
Just whilst we're doing that, as a gear changing manoeuvre, could I just send a big hello to Jamie?
Yes,
and to Dave especially, and to all of our many listeners.
Yes, that's right. Our 4 listeners out there.
Yes, our 4 listeners. I think Clint will be listening. I was talking to Clint tonight,
Yeah, I heard you
Dave
come
came
up
up on Clint's callback.
I did hear that. I heard Dave come
good.
up, and I heard you come up.
Good.
So that was good.
Yes.
Now, I usually listen to right until at 28 past, and then I have to quickly switch across. So so I do get to hear. And Clint, if you're listening, I do listen to most of your missions. So I'm sort of in and out a little bit, but the only reason I don't come to the callback or do emails is that I'm sort of getting organised with with different things. But it's all good. Okay, well, let's have a look. What have we got? Well, you sent me some great things here. Now we've got we've heard fat Mr. Putin, the white Putin meme.
Yes, that was good. I loved the Delado. What's her name? Delado, the jazz lady.
Yeah, she's great, isn't she? I didn't know anything about her.
She's terrific. See if you can find more of her.
I'd like to. I think so. That'd be really good. Definitely. Now we'll have to explore that theme. Now you've given us a track of The Who. Tell us about The Who.
The Who is one of my favourite rock bands. They certainly achieved a lot of fame and a fair bit of notoriety as well for people who wrecked things. And one of their members was I think a bit deranged, Keith Moon.
Okay.
But then again, rock groups are a bit prone to attracting such people.
Yes, I think they might be.
And they add a certain flair to the to what happens.
Sure.
But I think they're a very good group, and I particularly like the one that that you're going to play called Magic Bus, which has a lot of excitement in it, and they really get into it, and it's one of their compositions. But I think they're an underrated group when you compare them with groups that probably commercially were more successful, like the Rolling Stones.
Sure. So were they British or American?
Oh, they were totally British.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Pete Townsend, they're extremely British. They did a very interesting rock opera called Tommy. I don't know whether you ever heard of Tommy.
I have heard of Tommy now you mentioned it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was The Who.
Pete Townsend.
Okay,
that
Pete
was
Townsend.
The Who.
Yep, now it's coming together a bit because I've certainly heard of Pete Townsend before. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I'm putting two and two together. Well, let's have a listen to The Magic Bus. Yeah, thanks, Frank. Let's have a listen. Cheers.
Good. Cheers.
Every day I get in the queue to get on the bus that takes me to you. I'm so nervous I just sit and smile. Your house is only another mile. Thank you, driver, for getting me here. You'll be an inspector, have no fear. Can I buy your magic bus? I don't care how much I pay. I wanna drive my bus to my baby each day. I want it, 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 I want it. Threepence and sixpence every day, just to drive to my baby. Threepence and sixpence each day, 'cause I drive my baby every way. Magic bus, 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 magic bus.
Well, great energy. And we've been listening to the Magic Bus, The Who. And that was one of Frank's choices. Thanks, Frank. And you switched in. I think you're switched on there. So if we can hear you, I might just check a few things, making sure you can be heard. What's happening with Frank? We might just... Looks like you're not there. That's interesting. Okay, Frank's gone missing. Well, we'll just stand by and see what happens. See if we can get him back again. And yeah, we're just listening to The Who, very vibrant band, and I like the acoustic elements in that performance too. Okay, now still can't see any sign of Mr. JR. Looking at the talkie profile there, so you might have to. I can readmit you there, Frank, if you like. If you want to drop off and come back, maybe that's the better way. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, what I can do is put another thing from your playlist, so it just gives you time. And Frank suggested a couple of songs, and another one is from Billy Joel. And we can chat about it in retrospect, I think. So that might give you a minute to sort things there, Frank, because I can't see you. You're not on the thing at the moment. Let's have a look and see. Yes, it's only got me there. I can see the participants. It's only me, so you're not up. So I can admit you again. So what we'll do is we'll have a listen to the other track, which is Billy Joel, and So It Goes. This is vk3sl testing.
In every heart there is a room, a sanctuary safe and strong, to heal the wounds from lovers past, until a new one comes along. I spoke to you tones, you answered me with no pretense, and still I feel I said too much. My silence is my self-defense, and every time I've held a rose, it seems I only felt the thorns. And so it goes, and so it goes, and so will you soon, I suppose. But if my silence made you leave, then that would be my worst mistake. So I will share this room with you, and you can have this heart to break. And this is why my eyes are closed. It's just as well for all I've seen. And so it goes, and so it goes, and you're the only one who knows. So I would choose to be with you. That's if the choice were mine to make. But you can make decisions too, and you
And you just heard Billy Joel, and So It Goes. It's the official version of that. And I think we've got Frank on now.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I certainly can, Frank. It's all good.
I went out and came back in. And
okay. That's fine.
Yeah,
no, that worked out well. I've got there's a tab I can open which allows me to see the participants, and it makes it all a bit easier. So I can use that now. Yeah, good.
Cool.
Well, thank you for that. That's Billy Joel. I didn't know that song. I'd never heard it before. So has that got some personal significance for you?
Yeah, not really. It wasn't one of his big songs, but it's one of his own favourite songs. It's all about the lyric, really. And I think it's a sensitive, nice song.
Yes, it is. Very much so. Yeah, no, it's a lovely, reflective song. And I usually associate him with sort of really upbeat pieces, so it's good to sort of hear him.
Yeah, that's right. Well, that's the other side of him.
Yeah.
He's actually a very good pianist. He released a recording of some fugues that he wrote.
Really?
At one point. So
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, how intriguing, Billy Joel.
No,
fugues. I'm absolutely fascinated. Billy.
Yeah, I know. I've been unsuccessful in locating them, but I had actually heard one on the radio.
Yeah.
They're short pieces, and then it's not J.S. Bach, but it's interesting.
Yeah, it'd be good to hear. I'm just having a look and see if there's any Billy Joel fugue. I've done a little search, but no, I don't think there's anything on the mainstream.
They're probably not even called that, but
yeah,
it is music in it's piano solo,
sure,
and
it's counterpoint.
It's in the classical. It's counterpoint, very much counterpoint.
Okay. Oh, very good. Well, that's great. Well, and the Who. I hadn't. I need to be educated. I was just been reading about them, and they were bigger than Texas.
They were huge. They were huge. They were totally huge. Yeah.
100 million albums.
Oh my God! Really, I didn't know that myself.
It's astonishing. Yes. So obviously, and massive. So I didn't, and they had a long. Well, I think they're still going, are they? It looks like
no. That Pete Townsend is still going. Their leader.
Yeah.
Although he developed very bad tinnitus. And Keith Moon, one of the originals. Topped himself, unfortunately.
Oh, did he really? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very sad.
But so they haven't. As individuals, the others are still working, I think.
Okay, yeah. It says they're active until 1994 is when they last played together. Okay.
That's it.
Sure, but still that's a fairly long tenure. 1964 is when they started. And they were started as a group called the Detours, it says here.
Yeah, that's right.
But it had a nice acoustic element and lots of interest and texture changes. That's
a lot of energy, good energy in there,
Yeah, that's what I always look for in rock music is good energy, texture changes, a bit of a journey. And and a group sound. I always listen for a group sound, and they had all those things.
Certainly.
Yeah,
they did. They did.
Yeah. Yes, here it goes. There's 100 million records worldwide. Isn't that amazing? And
too shabby, is it?
It's not bad. Fantastic. Thanks for that. That's really good to hear. So, excuse me. So, we've just had some Mr. Joel, and we've got another one on your list, but we might save it for the later because I think it might sort of serve as a write-out piece at the end or towards the end.
Yes.
So, Well, maybe we change gear again and move into sort of a classical thing. Let's see if we can. Now, I'm just looking. I was thinking this week because I put up on YouTube that recording of those transcription records of Yehudi Menuhin and 3dB Orchestra, and these are pretty rare records. Which Jamie knows all this. In fact, Jamie originally had them, and they went to another collector who I knew. This is a long time ago. This is when, I was in my early 20s or late teens even, and we were able to make dubbings of them before they were bequeathed to somebody else, and we don't know where they've gone now. So the originals have disappeared, but we made dubbings of them, or I made dubbings of them some time ago when I was working on a deceased estate, and I've just recently tidied them up and put them up on YouTube. And it's a really interesting rarity. It's with the Yehudi Menuhin and the playing 3 concertos with Verdon Williams and the 3DB Orchestra in Melbourne in 1951. It's a whole concert, a whole evening concert in July, 11th of July, 1951, and it was at the exhibition buildings, and the MSO were unable to play. They had some prior engagements, so they got the 3DB Orchestra and augmented it. So that they made it into a bigger group. And Menuhin was in Australia, and he played the solo, and apparently there's a number of news reports about the event, and apparently it was really incredibly terrible conditions. It was really cold. People were bringing blankets and overcoats and so on. So it was not ideal, but the whole thing was recorded, and we do have this document. So recently, that's been my latest sort of YouTube upload. So I thought, there's a lot of great material in this performance, and it's actually captured very well. It's quite a good copy. And the acetates are in good condition. There's about 6 of them. They're all 16-inch acetates. And anyhow, I thought I'd just play the slow movement from the Beethoven Concerto. It's quite beautiful. And you'll hear Menuhin in really great form. The orchestra's not. It's okay, but it's fine, and it's nothing like the orchestral standards of today, but that's all right. And we'll so this is just sort of a bit of Melbourne history, and if we just listen to this one movement, it might set the scene for a few other things as well. So let's have a listen to Yehudi Menuhin with Verdon Williams and the 3DB, an augmented 3DB orchestra from 1951, and the Beethoven, or middle movement from Beethoven Concerto. I think we'll just fade that in. You can hear it. Well, we've just been listening to Yuri Manuin and the 3DB Orchestra with Vernon Williams back in 1951. The 11th of July 1951. That's a live concert. Rick dubbed off acetates. There we go. And I'll just fade it there. I think there is a back announcement somewhere. This is off the radio. See if there is an announcement here. Oh, sorry, Frank, I haven't switched you in. Sorry. Yours now switched back in. And we'll just see if there's an announcement. I think there is, if I remember correctly.
What is there for me to say? I think the audience is saying it quite well for me. It's absolutely inspired.
Okay, I'll fade it at that point.
Eddie Mundoin has just called the orchestra to stand, and he's leaving the stage. I wonder if he will come back.
All right, then we'll leave it there. And you with us still, Frank? I wonder. Let me check. Let me have a look and see. I can see Frank's there. Your mic's not on there, Frank. I think I've switched you in here. So you just need to switch your mic on. I can see you've got your hand up on the screen. Yeah, there's a little symbol for the a hand up symbol is usually, it's just a way of acknowledging. What's he saying?
They're all applauding, but the lights have gone up. I don't know whether he will return again. Yes, he has. He's come back to stay.
Yeah, I think Menuhin does come back and do an encore, but we can listen to that another time. I'll freeze it at that point. And Frank, yeah, so your mic's not on at this stage. If it's easier to do a rejoin, that might be the better way. But I can stand by and I can see what your status is on the... here we go. I've lowered the hand symbol now. This is vk3sl, by the way. Test missions on 160 and 2 meters. And also streaming online. You can find the streaming service via YouTube these days. That's the go-to place. It's all happening on YT. Just look for my call sign, lowercase. And there's also a secondary stream as well, which can be found via my blogspot page, vk3sl.blogspot.com. And here we go. We're looking for Frank, and we see Frank, and I can admit you into the room, Frank. There we go. You there? Yay! There you go. Hello.
Yes, I don't know what happens, but
that's okay. If it happens, we just readmit.
I don't alter anything here. It just happens spontaneously.
It must time out. It must time out or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
anyway, I loved the menu, and God, he was in good form, wasn't he?
He was. Yeah, beautiful playing, very inspired, and it was sort of his best. He was on top of his game very much at that point. And just have something of local interest. It's amazing that concert survives.
3dB Orchestra wasn't too bad, was it?
Not too bad. Pretty good. But
it wasn't the MSO.
No, it's not. But it's a cavernous space. It was in the exhibition buildings. And,
that's not the ideal venue, is it, for sound?
No, not at all. And it was close mic'd, so we don't sort of get a sense of the full ambience there.
No.
But at the same time,
had a hell of an audience. There seemed to be thousands.
Yes, apparently it was packed. It was a big event, and there's a number of newspaper articles about it, and it's a great review of the concert. And but the reviews talks about the acoustics being very compromised in places. So so when I put it up on YouTube, I put up the review on the... Mr. Fleming actually found that for me, the review.
Oh, that's excellent. Good evening, Mr. Fleming, if you're there.
Yes. Hi, John. And he did his great footwork there, looking through Trove and getting all the information. So, so we've got a bit of a composite now, and we're hoping that there'll be some interest. And he's sent a link to... I think there's a history page with one of the newspapers, and we'll see if there's we can get a bit of groundswell there, maybe.
That's excellent.
Well, we're hoping there might be people who are alive who were at that concert and might recall the event, because it was a sort of a big event. It was in 1951. So
yes, and we've just about passed the anniversary of it too, July 11th.
That's right, exactly. We have too. What was the first concert you remember going to, Frank?
It was, it wasn't really a concert. It was a recital by a bloke called Burl Ives.
Oh, yeah.
No. The first before that, I went to one of the school's concerts.
Oh, yes.
At the Melbourne Town Hall.
Okay.
I must have been 9, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
And just a minute till I turned the radio off.
Sure.
Driving me mad hearing myself.
Yeah, that's okay. I know what it's like.
I'm not driving others mad hearing.
No, it's fine.
Anyway, it was wonderful. And that was where I heard, I think, of Yuri Tanshabudek that we've spoken about.
Yes, indeed, the oboe player. Right.
Yes.
So he was performing with the orchestra, was he?
He certainly was, and they had a lovely oboe concerto, someone's oboe concerto, I can't remember.
Wonder if it was the Vaughan Williams.
Very possibly. I really can't remember.
Yeah,
but,
sure.
I remember I was very taken with it.
Fantastic.
And very taken with the sound of the...
Sure.
I was well introduced to the oboe by my music appreciation teacher. We all knew all the orchestra pretty well.
Yes.
But that made it all the more interesting because you could just enjoy the music.
Definitely.
And that was they were big occasions. We'd all get in the bus and go up there. And Sir Bernard Heinz used to do it. I think
he was conducting.
He compared it. Yes,
okay, he compared as well.
I think he did. Yes,
right.
Yes, I think pretty sure.
Were they
he
sort
did.
of schools concerts, or were they?
No, totally schools concerts. Yes, they were put on for schools.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes. And therefore full of kids. Obviously, I mean,
so
it wasn't a case of kids and adults could come if they wanted to. I think you had to be a kid or a carer, not carer to go.
So was it a daytime or an evening concert? Was it a sort of
daytime? It was in the afternoons.
Okay. Very good.
Yeah.
And it was with the MSO in the Melbourne Town Hall.
Certainly was.
Excellent. Oh, that's very good. That's a nice memory. Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I think my first concert was seeing the MSO at the Town Hall, and I would have been about the same age. And I remember hearing Handel's Water Music Suite, and I think that's the only work I could remember. But I remember my folks taking me to see an MSO concert when I was probably about 8 or 9, something like that.
Oh, that's excellent.
So yes, you do remember these things. The experience of hearing an orchestra. Yeah, the experience of hearing an orchestra for the first time is a pretty powerful experience, I think.
Live. I mean, I'd heard lots of orchestras on the radio, but it was a totally different experience. Of course, the live experience.
Absolutely, in every sense, that visceral thing, the whole liveness of the venue, just the sound and the fullness and the involvement. It's amazing. Yeah,
I went to several over the time I was in primary school.
Okay.
And one of the favourite selections, of course, was the Guide to the Orchestra.
The Benjamin Britten one.
Benjamin Britten, thank you. Yes.
Yeah, Young Person's Guide to the Orchestra. It's a fantastic.
Young Person's, which based on that Purcell theme.
Yes, based on that wonderful Purcell theme. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so charged, isn't it? It's a great piece. Oh, I love that work.
Yeah, I do too.
Now you got me moving. I've got to look it up. Purcell, Britten. I won't listen to the whole thing, but I will listen to Britten Young.
Let's hear the theme. The first
Person's God. I want to get good at this. That's it. You've got it. Okay, here we go. Here's a version. Now, what I'll do is I'll dial it up and we'll just see if we can. Well, that's it there, but I'm going to play it on the real system. So let's have a listen to that wonderful theme by Purcell, which is exploited by Britten in magnificent ways. But we'll just hear the main theme to start with, and perhaps a bit of it.
Right.
Yeah, it's great music.
It is.
Here we go. It's just. Goes on, and we get a wonderful experience of every section of the orchestra, and they all get their highlight moment, don't they, Frank?
They do. It's really good, and I always enjoyed all of it. But I used to wait for the time when the initial theme would come back.
Yes, it comes.
That was the highlight.
It does. It comes back at the end. I'm going to find that spot.
It does,
It's a wondrous moment, isn't it? When it just comes in, there's a lot of. It's a little journey along the way with lots of sort of intermediary sections, and then the big theme comes back.
That's it.
And so we're getting there. I'll just see if I can find the spot. Yeah, so this is a subordinate theme. It comes up.
Yes.
And then we get the big theme at
that's
the
right.
end. We're pretty close to the end now, so I'll just let it ride from this point.
Let it run, yeah.
There we go. Benjamin
Wow.
Britten's A Young Person's Guide to the Orchestra, based on a theme by Purcell, a fanfare by Purcell. I don't know what the background to that piece is. It'd be interesting to know what the fanfare is from.
Yes, I had heard it's one of his operas, I think.
Yeah, okay. It says here, written in 1945, so it's pretty early Britain, really. And so does it say where it's from? Yes, it's the rondo from the Abdelaziz Suite.
Yes, that's okay.
By Handel. By Purcell, sorry. Yes, so it's an orchestral suite by Purcell, which formed the main
I'd like
theme.
to hear the rest of the. I'd like to hear the rest of the suite.
Yes, it would be interesting to find that. Yeah, I'll look that up and see if we can address that another time, because it might take a bit of investigation. But that's great.
Oh yes, I'm doing research there.
Yeah, it'd be good. Well, that was a treat. I enjoyed hearing that. That's got me all excited
so did I.
and remembering that formative experience of hearing concerts, hearing music for the first time. It's very powerful. Yay! All right, so we're sort of getting a little bit closer to the. I was going to play. Well, we've got a bit of time. What I was going to share with you something else that I found. We were talking about Menuhin, of course, and we're listening to that performance. But there is a little bit of there's an interview with Mr. M talking about Enescu. And this is really quite special. And it's called...
for you, especially.
Yes, it is for me.
No, I'm sure it is for everybody, but you know what I mean.
I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. And anyone who knows me knows that Enescu is someone I sort of look up to as a composer and as a musician. And Menuhin had this very special relationship with Enescu. He studied with him and was close to him in lots of ways. And look, I'll just play this little reflection here by Menuhin himself talking about Enescu. It's called Enescu in My Heart is what it's called. So let's have a little listen to this. VK3SL and VK3JR.
So that he was always a spirit ahead of his time, long ahead of his time, and rooted in the past at the same time. So he spanned the whole horizon of human history and of human hopes and of human existence, and had a wonderful understanding of peoples. He spoke, naturally, German perfectly, and French, and English impeccably. Then I went to Romania with my first wife. In May 46, he met me at the airport, and we walked along from the plane, and I was there nearly 2 weeks, anyway, 10 days, 2 weeks. I'd said that I'd play as often as they wanted, morning, noon, and night, and that's what happened. that was, those days were extraordinary. And Enesco was, as always, his, not dominating, but knowing everything and all the music. We visited him at his home, which has since become a museum, I believe. But from all I hear, it has been very badly looked after. I hope that now there is some improvement. I understand that they are restoring his home in Sinaia, Villa Luminic. But I know that the Bucharest shrines, which they should be for Enesco, were very, very badly looked after. And he still remains Romania's greatest man. And just like Bartók in neighboring Hungary, his name was misused, ill-used, because once people are dead, those regimes make the most of the propaganda of the name and assume that the man was for them. Well, neither Enesco was ever for the regime in Bucharest, nor was Bartók for the regime, the fascist regime in Hungary. And Bartók made himself an exile in New York, where he was looked after. He wasn't as poor. He was poor because he wouldn't accept money, but he wasn't living in abject poverty, as the Hungarians said until now. True to his country, true to his province, because I remember Enesco saying, you know, I'm really the most lazy of men. Because he worked, he never stopped working. He traveled with the score of Oedipe, which he worked on after his concerts through the night. He was busy every moment of the day, if not for himself, helping others, listening to others, giving lessons, practicing. But he said, I'm the most lazy man in the world, because what I would really love to do this summer is to lie in a field in Moldavia with the insects buzzing around me and the tall grass around me. That was his dream. And of course, I don't know, he may have done it once, maybe, when he was a child. But it never came to that. But he loved Moldavia, above all.
Vous me comprendriez si vous aviez pu entendre comme moi la doina.
He is my, and will always be my guiding light, as a man, as a musician. And it was through him that I acquired my devotion to the Romanian people and to that incredible country, so full of color, of each valley, each little corner having its own tradition, or had. UNESCO represents for me the greatest, one of the greatest men I've ever known, and a great Romanian. UNESCO, he and a few others stand out as noble human beings who deserve our respect and whom we should try to emulate.
There we go. That's
pretty high praise indeed, isn't it?
It is. It's very moving, and just to see just to hear him. He can't find the words. He's so moved.
No, he can't find the words.
Yeah, no, it's impossible to describe that sort of union. And but look, I think one of the most beautiful things was that they recorded the Bach double concerto together when Menuhin was 16 and Ionescu was probably in his 60s or 50s.
Yeah,
and it's the most beautiful performance. I haven't got time to play the whole thing, but I'll play the middle movement, and it's just the most
slow movement,
the slow movement of the Bach double, and you'll hear the two players, and it's just so reverential. It's just wonderful. So I think this
great.
Also, we'll have a bit of time after this too. So let's have a listen to the Bach double middle movement with Yehudi Menuhin and George Ionescu, recorded in 1932.
Okay.
Right. That was, yeah, it was. It was wonderful. Great playing. And Menu and Ananescu with the Bach Double, the middle movement, recording made in 1932. Yeah. Now, you switched in. Hello, you're a bit distant. I wonder if your headset mic's working.
How's that?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
That's because I turned my microphone up the wrong way.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
It's very. What's interesting, the mic works really well. Yeah, it's good for proximity. You're not getting any other noise around you. So that's
It is. Yes, it's a nice little. It's a cheap headset, but it's a Logitech, and it works really well.
Yeah, they do. They're excellent. Oh, it's working superbly well. It's really, really good. I put a little tiny filter circuit in, just to take off a little bit of digital edge, and it just sounds excellent. Sounds really robust. It sounds fine.
Great, well done.
So it's all working nicely. Yeah. Yes. Anyhow, so yes, I thought we'd just milk this theme a little bit because I have to keep coming back to it. There are certain themes which keep returning. I'm afraid.
Well, why not? Don't fight them.
No,
go along with it.
I love those performances, but it's particularly special hearing the younger player and his mentor performing together, and I think that's
beautiful.
It's a remarkable performance. Now we've got something very special that you've chosen, and I'm not going to make it the last item. I'm going to play it. We'll play it next, but I've got one other thing to play after it. It's a short thing to play after it, and I'll explain that in a minute because it's another topic. But you have chosen the Kathleen Ferrier singing "What Is Life" from Orfeo. Yes. Now it's a wonderful choice.
Thank you.
Yeah, so
I thought you'd like it.
Yes, definitely. But I was pleased to find a live performance of it.
No!
This is something I'd never heard before, and I'm aware that Kathleen Ferrier recorded it. I think she made a couple of studio recordings of it, and which are just wonderful. But this is a live performance, and she sang it in Italian, and so this is quite interesting. And it comes from, I think it comes from Dutch radio or something. Yes, it's from the Netherlands Radio Archives. It only materialised fairly recently. So
really, that's amazing.
It is. It's really interesting. So we'll have
place it in time.
I'm just trying to look here and see if they've got a date attached to it. I think it's quite late. I'm looking. Yes. Doesn't say, but I have a feeling it's fairly late. But
it was very hard to spot in her voice. I never could that she was dying of cancer.
Yeah.
She did a lot of recording, in the last year or so of her life, I think.
That's right. 1951 it was recorded.
Yeah, okay.
So it is pretty late, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, all right. Well, have a listen to this. This is just a performance music to die for. It's incredible. And we have featured it on the missions, but I'm very happy to feature it as many times. Find excuses to play it.
Repeat requests.
Yes, definitely. So we'll have to hear this. Kathleen Ferrier's voice is otherworldly, and this music is otherworldly, and I don't know, lost for words. Okay, so let's have a listen. vk3sl testing. So Kathleen Ferrier, What is Life?
Wow.
Recorded in Amsterdam.
What do you say?
Yeah, extraordinary. It's very interesting hearing a live performance, how different it is, and how...
Yes. There's even more emotion in it,
I think there is. I think there's more raw emotion in it.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
It seems to... you can see that she's reaching out and connecting with the audio. Well, there's that sense of immediacy that comes with a live performance.
I know.
But very powerful and incredible, just... I don't know. It's a remarkable quality she had. And not just the caliber, just a musicianship and her, passion, remarkable.
Everything.
Yeah,
everything. It's just all there. There's no one. I've never heard a voice with such richness. It's a contralto voice anyway.
Yeah, sure.
With absolute full richness.
Yeah.
Melodic intensity, just beautiful.
It is totally. It's incredible, and it had like a. I've never heard her sing with that sort of passionate edge as much as in that performance.
Yeah.
There was a sort of almost a yearning, a real determined quality to that. So
that's what it needs. That's.
Yeah, and often I've always loved her for her performance because it's recordings because they're of that piece because they're very reflective and it's quite. It's a deep sadness, but there's something reaching out more. I think in that
the intensity, that how it almost desperation.
Yeah, totally.
Well, I think I wouldn't say almost. I think there is a desperation thing, and he was desperate. I mean, it's always amazed me that such sadness. An intensity of sadness was written in a major key.
I know it's unusual, isn't it? It's a really interesting one because it's I don't know. Maybe it sort of addresses the complexity of our human.
It does. But look, I think it works superbly. I'm not.
It does.
But,
it does.
It's just interesting that you can do that.
But there sometimes can be a sort of pathos that goes with sort of having mixed emotions as well. But
sure.
I don't know. But it's interesting, and it's a remarkable. Isn't it amazing that these things are turning up? I mean,
it's terrific. I wonder what else will turn up. That's the thing.
This is the wonder of YT, of course, and any platform that and it's encouraging people. I mean, I felt encouraged to clean up that the Menuhin recording because that's the only copy in the public domain of that. And but I'm sure a lot of other people are finding things and feel encouraged because there's an audience. There's people who are looking for this material and want to connect with it.
You bet.
Yeah, so that was, well, look, I thought I'd wind up. I suppose it's getting sort of into the...
what is it? It's 2:15.
Yes. So, I mean, I could keep going, but I know that...
so that's right, we both could. But
yes, it just doesn't work so much the next day.
Not good. I was going to say, I've got some things to do tomorrow.
Yes, today. Likewise. That's right, today. But look, I was going to say that you're probably aware that Ennio Morricone passed away last week.
Yes.
So there's one great name or great film writer.
He wrote some very good music, I think.
He did. He wrote the music for The Mission.
That's right, The Mission. That's right.
So this is very, very topical. Very topical.
We should adopt that.
Yes, indeed.
That's right.
It should be our theme song. So he did write the Gabriel Zobo from The Mission. So I thought it would be a fitting way to finish tonight, is to have the have the Mr. Morricone, and this is just a performance. I listened to a few performances of this, and this is the one I thought was quite special. It's just a local. I think it's in Poland somewhere, and a young oboe player, youth orchestra, but it's just really heartfelt rendition. So I thought, well, this would be a nice way to write out. So, Frank, thank you.
Thank you. It's wonderful, as usual.
Yeah, it's been great. And look, we'll be back, I think. I hope so. Well, as long as the transmitter holds up, we'll be back. So, we'll look forward to next time.
So cheers, Jamie, and cheers, Dave.
Yes.
Keep warm.
Indeed.
And
yes.
Do you have any arrangement to listen on 80?
Look, I probably will. I don't know. Tomorrow night, I think I'm watching a movie tomorrow night with Kate, so I probably won't tomorrow night. But I think on Sunday, maybe on Sunday night.
Yes.
So we'll see how we go on Sunday night.
He's getting out so well that he
really
wouldn't have any trouble making contacts if he wants to, I'm sure.
Oh, look, absolutely. I'm sure he's making lots of contacts. But we did some tests last night, and
yes, I meant to come up.
Yeah, that doesn't matter.
How did it go?
Yeah, it was good. We did some tests with lowering the antenna. And he lowered it all the way down to 25 feet or even less, and he was still getting out really well. So
that's interesting.
So it was almost an NVIS arrangement with a very low. I think the SWR went up a lot, but it was actually very workable. And so
interesting.
Yeah, it was good. It's good to do those sort of tests at distance. And
good.
Tonight would have been a good night because it was just booming in tonight.
He was, wasn't he? Yeah.
Yesterday it was a bit of noise, but it was worthwhile, definitely worthwhile. And I did some AM tests, and I even played a bit of one of the missions back on another AM emitters. That's another story. Anyhow, we'll leave that for next time.
Yes. I didn't want to get in.
No, that's okay. And so we'll finish with this with Gabriel Zobo, and we'll say cheers. Have a good week, everyone.
Yes.
And we'll continue with our afternoon missions as long as I'm locked down here and there's nobody else on the band and it doesn't upset anybody. I'll just continue with that. It's something to do.
Excellent.
Okay,
great stuff.
Thanks a lot, Frank.
Thanks, Steve.
Have a great
All the
week.
best.
This is vk3sl saying cheers for now.
This is VK3JR saying cheers to everybody and take care.